And one more brioche challenge is what happens when I made a mistake a few stitches back. See, I've got 3 pink stitches in a row with no yarn over, which means somewhere along the way I neglected to follow the pattern. So one of the easiest ways I've found to work brioche stitch errors out is to unknit. And remember, if you knit a yarn over together with a stitch, then you need to put it back on the left needle the same way. So here I've got the yarn over and the pink stitch. Unknitting it means putting the needle through both of those. Here it was just a purl. Here it was a knit with a yarn over. Here it was the purl with the yarn over, so we're just going to take the purl. Here we'll take the knit stitch with the yarn over. And now I'm back to where I needed to be. So that right there is supposed to be a slip stitch, yarn over, then I'm going to knit. Slip stitch, yarn over, then I'm going to knit. And that takes care of writing it. Now, if you don't want to unknit stitches, you can always rip out the row and go back that way. So here I need to go back to where I have the pink stitch here all by itself. It should have been a yarn over. So I'm going to slide those off the needle. I will pull it out, and then I need to pick them back up. And I need to be very careful that I'm getting my stitch and my yarn over together at the same time. So I find it easier being right-handed. I'm going to turn the work around, and that way I can get everything back on the holding needle. So I'm going to have the stitch and the yarn over, then the single. All right, I'm going to have the stitch and the yarn over. I'm going to have the single. I'm going to have the stitch, make sure I get the yarn over in there, and then I'm going to have a single right here. So I've got them all on the needle now. When I turn the work back around, I need to be careful of how the stitches lay on the needle. Because here, for instance, we're going to do our slip one yarn over. And because we're slipping as if to purl, I need to make sure the stitch is oriented properly. Often we'll be told to grab the front side of the stitch, but in this case, because of the way I put it on the needle, it's actually going to cross the stitch or twist it. So a better way to think about it is, rather than front and back, think about the stitch as an upside down horseshoe, and you always want to keep the right side on the right as you are working through it. So in order to do that, I'm going to bring the yarn forward, I'm going to grab that right side, slip it as if to purl, do my yarn over, and then I'm going to knit. Right, that one's on the needle flat the way I need it to be, so that's good. This one is too. So I did a better job than I thought when I wasn't really paying attention, because I just wanted to get the yarn on the needle before it unraveled. And I can keep on knitting. So hopefully those are some tips that have helped with any mistake you might encounter. Again, remember, they're your own design elements, so don't sweat them. But if you do want to learn how to take the next step in brioche knitting, being able to repair some of the oopses, because they do happen every once in a while, nobody's perfect, we're all human, that's the way you can go about doing it. Happy knitting from Morehouse Farm.